left the United States in a much weaker position. He's left the IRGC in a much stronger position, and a whole lot of people have died and been displaced along the way.
You were there when the Obama administration was negotiating that deal, and I just remember like the level of hysteria about that, and particularly there's a very small group of like very well-funded kind of like monomaniacal anti-Iran hawks, which again, the Iranian regime, you and I both agree, is a really bad one, and the people there deserve much, much better. And they act terribly to their own people and also globally. Like, there's no question about that. But there was this, like, you know, just holy war launched at you. I mean, it was just so hysterical. And this obsession with we're paying them, even though it was repatriating their assets. I just got, when you saw the thing today that, like, that's going to be a big part is a $20 billion, I was like, what must they be thinking, the Obama people in that White House when they were working on that deal?
Yeah, thank you for the trip down memory lane, Chris, and the lead in here. Look, you can't overstate. I mean, there's a longer discussion to be had, Chris, about why in this country it was much harder to do a diplomatic deal to avoid a war than it is to take this country into war.
Great point.
But you're
Great
right.
point.
I mean, just ferocious attacks on President Obama, all of us personally. Like, I can't even tell you how the insanity I put up with, right? I was doxxed. I had, you know, groups of former Mossad agents contracted to spy on me. I mean, it was an insane time, right? And what we said at the time are two things. That it's a choice. If you want Iran to not get a nuclear weapon, you either need a diplomatic deal like this or there's going to be a war. And people told us that that was outrageous. How could we dare say that? Well, I think we've now learned that that was the choice. And then if you want a deal, you have to give something in return. There's not some magic world where you can just say, hey, Iran, like stop all of your nuclear activity for nothing. Of course, that involves unfreezing their assets. You have sanctions in place for a reason so that you can compel a change in Iranian behavior with their nuclear program. And so any deal, whatever the terms are, it's going to look under the Iran nuclear deal, for instance, Chris, they shipped 98% of their enriched uranium out of the country, you know, without a war. You know, Trump is going to declare that this was some big win to get the enriched uranium out of the country. They used to do that on the diplomatic deal that he left. They had strict limitations on their uranium enrichment. We had inspections and monitoring verification, not just in their facilities, in their uranium mines and mills. A big, comprehensive, complicated negotiation with international verification. Now he's got Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff in Islamabad without, you know, the Europeans or the Russians or the Chinese. I mean, there's a reason this feels chaotic. It's because it's amateur hour.